Together, they're more than just music royalty, they are a billion-dollar brand. From Brooklyn projects to global domination, Jay-Z and Beyoncé built an empire through business, talent, and ruthless precision. This is the untold story of how two artists became two of the richest, most powerful figures in entertainment, and how they spend every dollar of it. Before private jets, penthouses, and billion-dollar businesses, Sean Carter walked the cracked sidewalks of Marcy Projects in Brooklyn. It was a neighborhood known more for crime stats than career launches, but Jay-Z wasn't built for limits. He started by selling mixtapes out of his car and founded Rockefeller Records in 1995 when no major label would take a chance on him. That move changed everything. Albums like Reasonable Doubt, The Blueprint, and The Black Album became more than classics. They were business cards for what would become a generational empire. By the time he launched Roc Nation in 2008, Jay-Z was no longer just a rapper. He was an architect, shaping careers, signing athletes, negotiating deals across music, sports, and tech. Today, Roc Nation manages everyone from Rihanna to J. Cole and holds partnerships with global giants like Live Nation and the NFL. On the other side of this power couple, Beyoncé Knowles wasn't just born to perform, she was raised to command. From her breakout days with Destiny's Child selling over 60 million records worldwide to redefining the visual album format with Lemonade, she proved that artistry and control could coexist. Her 2022 album Renaissance dominated charts and festivals, reminding the world that Beyoncé isn't chasing trends, she creates them. Together, they've not only changed music, they've redefined what black wealth and power look like on a global stage. According to Forbes 2024, Jay-Z is now valued at $2.5 billion. Thanks to investments in companies like Uber, Armand D. Brignac, and Tidal, Beyoncé's net worth is estimated at $540 million, with massive earnings from her Renaissance tour, Ivy Park, and her film and streaming projects. Their combined net worth of over $3 billion places them in a league of their own, not just as the first hip-hop billionaire couple, but as a brand more powerful than most corporations. When Forbes put them on the cover in 2019, it wasn't just about numbers, it was a recognition of the way they built wealth. On their own terms, owning their image and keeping control. They didn't just build wealth, they built a lifestyle that reflects every dollar of it. Let's take a look inside their homes. For Jay-Z and Beyoncé, home isn't just where the heart is. It's where empires are housed in glass, stone, and steel. Their real estate portfolio isn't a collection of addresses, it's a masterclass in modern royalty, ultra-secure, custom-built, and dripping in architectural flex. In 2017, they made headlines when they bought a Bel Air estate for $88 million. A modernist fortress carved into the hills with bulletproof windows, panoramic views, and a private spa that rivals 5-star resorts. There are 4 swimming pools, a 15-car garage, a full basketball court, and a floating staircase inside walls of Italian limestone. Every inch of the home was designed for privacy, luxury, and silence. Because when you are a global brand, peace is priceless. But that was just the warm-up. In 2023, they dropped a record-breaking $200 million on a compound in Malibu, making it the most expensive residential sale in California history. Designed by Japanese architect Tadao Ando, the home is a brutalist marvel. Massive slabs of concrete shaped into a minimalist sanctuary overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The structure is more sculpture than shelter. No ornamentation, no clutter, just scale, light, and raw power. Exactly like its owners. That's not where it ends though. Their East Coast footprint includes a stunning $26 million mansion in the Hamptons, tucked away in East Hampton's Georgica Pond area, with cedar walls, a floating staircase, and a 100-year-old oak tree at its center. In New Orleans, they own a converted church mansion that has hosted everything from family parties to late-night recording sessions. In New York, they previously held a penthouse in Tribeca, a neighborhood where square footage costs more than some sports cars. Altogether, their real estate portfolio is estimated at over $300 million. A patchwork of homes designed not just for living, but for reigning. These aren't investment properties or weekend getaways, each space reflects a different era in their rise. Built for function, art, and absolute privacy. Jay-Z once said, "I'm not a businessman, I am a businessman. These homes aren't just personal, they're part of the business." Fortresses to protect the brand, stages for deals, safe zones for raising children far from flashing cameras. And when your homes are that lavish, your travel style has to match. So let's talk jets, yachts, and private luxury. If you want to understand the scale of Jay-Z and Beyoncé's wealth, you don't start with the bank statements, you follow the way they move. For this couple, travel is never ordinary. It's private, curated, and always a few stories above the rest. Take their Bombardier Challenger 850, a private jet worth $40 million, gifted by Beyoncé to Jay-Z for Father's Day. This isn't a stripped-down business jet, it's a flying mansion. The cabin has a living room, a full kitchen, 2 bathrooms, and a master bedroom, all custom designed to reflect their quiet, luxury-first aesthetic. It's how they tour, how they do business, and how they escape the noise of the world on their own schedule. When they trade the skies for the sea, the opulence scales up. In 2022, the Carters were seen vacationing off the coast of Croatia aboard the Kismet, one of the most iconic yachts in the world, valued at $200 million. It features a helipad, a full spa, a cinema, and a grand piano lounge that looks like it belongs in a palace. The Kismet is usually chartered by billionaires and NFL owners, but for that summer, it was just Jay, Bay, Blue Ivy, and the Mediterranean. On land, their presence is just as bold. Jay-Z's car collection is legendary, headlined by the Maybach Exelero, a sleek futuristic coupe worth $8 million, once featured in a music video and now rumored to be one of only a few ever made. There is also the Rolls-Royce Boattail, a hand-built piece of automotive art with matching picnic sets, rumored to cost around $28 million. That's not just luxury, it's living at a level most collectors never even see. Then there's Beyoncé's choice of Tesla Model S. Subtle and environmentally conscious, often used when she's seen around Los Angeles. Because while their taste is grand, it's never predictable. One day it's Monaco, the next it's backstage in Dubai. They've been seen at Cannes, Venice Film Festival, the Hamptons, and even dropping into Art Basel in Miami. Never just as guests, always as icons moving through the room with calm, calculated ease. But their money doesn't just go toward toys, their business decisions are what truly made them billionaires. Jay-Z once rapped, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman," and he wasn't kidding. Behind the platinum records and sold-out arenas lies a strategic mind that's turned beats into billions. One of his most famous moves was selling his streaming service, Tidal, to Square Inc., which is now Block, back in 2021 for $297 million, while retaining a stake in the company. It wasn't just a payout, it was a long-term play. That same year, he sold half of his stake in Ducey Cognac to Bacardi, valuing the brand at nearly $750 million, and secured equity in Uber early on, long before it went public. His crown jewel is Roc Nation, launched in 2008. More than a music label, it's a full-service entertainment and sports agency managing the careers of stars like Rihanna, J. Cole, DJ Khaled, and Kevin Durant. Roc Nation signs athletes, books, tours, and secures brand deals, as well as even consults on political campaigns. It's Jay-Z's long game, building a pipeline of talent and influence that reaches well beyond music. Beyoncé has her own empire that's equally calculated. She runs Parkwood Entertainment, her production and management company, responsible for visual albums, major tours, and her Super Bowl performances. Her Ivy Park fashion brand started as a solo venture and later partnered with Adidas, creating exclusive athletic wear drops that sold out globally. Though the partnership ended in 2023, Ivy Park still proved she could dominate fashion just as she did music. Then there's her historic $60 million deal with Netflix, which kicked off with Homecoming, a documentary and concert film chronicling her groundbreaking Coachella performance. It wasn't just a concert, it was a cultural reset. Beyoncé didn't license the footage, she owned it, and she sold it. Together, they've even broken into emerging markets. Jay-Z helped launch Monogram, a luxury cannabis brand, where he serves as chief visionary officer at the parent company, aiming to elevate cannabis culture with the same precision he brought to hip-hop. Their moves aren't reactive, they're calculative. They don't chase trends, they define them. Every acquisition, every deal, every rollout is about more than money. It's about ownership, control, and building a legacy no label could ever give them. And when you've made that kind of money, you don't just build businesses, you shape culture. When Beyoncé steps on stage or Jay-Z steps behind the scenes, culture shifts. Not because they demand attention, but because they command it. In 2023, Jay-Z delivered a striking Grammy performance of God Did, with DJ Khaled rapping a 4-minute verse at a table set like The Last Supper. It was cinematic, defiant, and pure artistry. A moment that reminded everyone he isn't just a rapper, he's a cultural architect. That same night, Beyoncé made history again. She broke the all-time record for most Grammy wins ever, with 32 awards, surpassing even classical legends. It wasn't just a victory, it was a coronation of decades of consistency, vision, and reinvention. From Dangerously in Love to Renaissance, she hasn't just kept up, she's stayed ahead. One of her most defining cultural moments came in 2018 when she headlined Coachella, becoming the first Black woman to do so. That performance, now forever known as Baycella, wasn't just a show, it was a cultural thesis. With full HBCU-inspired choreography, a live marching band, and quotes from Malcolm X, she turned a music festival into a historical moment. The Homecoming film that followed made it immortal. Jay-Z's reach has expanded far beyond the studio. Since 2019, Roc Nation has co-produced the NFL Super Bowl halftime show, helping to guide one of the most watched television events in the world. His influence has ushered in performances from Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and more. A strategic shift toward showcasing hip-hop and R&B on one of the biggest stages in global entertainment. Their political and social voices matter too. They've performed at Barack Obama's inaugurations, spoken openly about racial justice, mass incarceration, and police reform, and have backed causes both publicly and financially. Jay-Z's work in criminal justice reform, from helping fund legal support for protesters to launching initiatives like Reform Alliance, speaks volumes even when he stays off camera. Through the Bay Good Foundation, Beyoncé has supported small businesses, mental health services, and global disaster relief. She's given scholarships to students at HBCUs and sent aid after Hurricane Katrina long before it was trending. The Sean Carter Foundation, meanwhile, funds college access programs and supports underprivileged communities across the US. Together, they've built more than a brand. They've built influence, the kind that doesn't fade with trends. Their presence moves charts, changes policies, funds futures, and defines eras. But even perfection in public comes with challenges behind the scenes. Fame this big has a price. Even in the highest towers of fame, the walls aren't always soundproof. For all their control and calculated moves, Jay-Z and Beyoncé have had moments where their lives spilled into public view. Raw, unfiltered, and unforgettable. The world stopped in 2014 not because of a performance, but because of an elevator. After the Met Gala, surveillance footage leaked showing Solange Knowles, Beyoncé's sister, physically attacking Jay-Z inside an elevator at the Standard Hotel. No audio, just a silent storm of kicks and swings while Beyoncé stood between them. The internet exploded. Speculation followed like wildfire. Cheating rumors, family tension, PR theories. In the aftermath, they didn't speak, No press statements, no interviews, just a caption. What happens in the family stays in the family. But silence wasn't their only language. Jay-Z responded in 2017 with a 4-minute 44 seconds, an album that wasn't just music, it was a confession. He admitted infidelity, publicly owning mistakes with lines like "You risked that for Blue?" Beyoncé had already delivered her own narrative a year earlier through Lemonade, a poetic and cinematic masterpiece about betrayal, power, forgiveness, and reclaiming worth. Together, their music became therapy. Through it all, they've stayed focused on legacy, not just wealth, but impact that lasts. For Jay-Z and Beyoncé, legacy was never just about leaving behind money. It's about building a blueprint that their children, their culture, and their fans can follow. And now that legacy isn't just in motion, it's already performing on stage. In 2023, Blue Ivy Carter, their eldest daughter, stepped onto the global stage during Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour. At just 11 years old, she danced in front of packed stadiums across Europe and the US, holding her own alongside professional performers. It wasn't a gimmick, it was generational artistry. Fans cheered not just for her moves, but for what it symbolized: a dynasty in motion. The Carters weren't just teaching their kids how to perform, they were showing them how to move in the world with discipline, poise, and purpose. Raising children in a $3 billion empire takes more than nannies and tutors. Beyoncé and Jay-Z are raising Blue, Ivy, Rumi, and Sir with a deep awareness of where they came from and what their name now represents. Jay-Z has spoken openly about wealth being more than flashy spending. It's about giving his kids tools, not jewels. That means access to ideas, education, business, and identity. Are Jay-Z and Beyoncé the blueprint for modern billionaire power couples, or something even bigger? Leave your thoughts in the comments.